I met him on Tinder. He said your booty looking tender.
Oh Lord, what in the hell are you doing now, Dulce?
What? Man, what you breaking my concentration right now. I'm trying to write a rap.
Rapping?
I'm trying to write a rap song about these niggas, cause these niggas are driving me crazy.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
And so now I'm a rapper, okay? I'm in the booth. Respect me. Moments later. I don't ask for a lot. You ain't gotta be a genius for nigga to be wrong. I'm finna cut a penis. Too far? Probably too far.
Ah, hell, it's about to get real.
And you believe that one can be both refined and ratchet?
Oh, absolutely. I'll show you how it's done. Who you calling ratchet?
Here we are again. You're over there in your peasant living room or wherever you are, and here I am about to indulge in sun-kissed pineapple soda. Of course, these pineapples are organic.
Ha! The only thing that's organic is that high fructose corn syrup. Child, drink up.
Haters don't prosper. What shit? What's up? What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Blah Blah Blah. Do y'all feel like we family yet? Because I'm about to tell my business again, and I really need us to feel like family so I don't have to cry to my therapist about how this was a totally bad idea. For the 5th episode of Blah Blah Blog, we are getting more personal. What can be more personal than letting you know the status of my active sex life? So glad you asked. So at first I was not going to tell this story, but as you can see by the title, Bedbug Bae got me bedbug bit.
Ew!
So here we are. What usually happens is I end up giving up on dating apps, and then I meet someone on a flight and they're like, yeah, my fiance and I actually met on Tinder. And I'm like, then my homegirl, who was so closed off to the idea of online dating, I told her to get on Hinge. She got a whole boyfriend. What do I have? I have this story. And you. Like this video and hit the subscribe button because you're all I have. So I asked Instagram, should I give online dating a chance again? 53% of you guys told me to go for it. I should have listened to the damn 47. But 53% of you guys told me to go for it, so I did. And I was like, you know what? We're going to be open. However, honestly, I think I've been through so much on these dating apps that I really should not have given in to an Instagram poll, because I've gotten messages like these.
I don't see nothing wrong with this. He hungry.
I tend to find that a lot of guys are really not looking for a serious committed relationship. I don't know if me being a virgin makes my online dating experience worse or not, but overall, online dating is pretty bad. If my past experience with online dating was enough to deter me, these statistics probably should have. According to eHarmony, 40% of Americans in the US are actually using dating apps. According to Pew Research Center, 12% have had their dating app experience result in a committed relationship. 12%. What? So hearing that only 12% turn into long committed relationships, I may feel just a little bit better about this story. Without further ado, let's just get right into it. So I meet this guy on Bumble. So currently I'm on Bumble, Hinge, and Tinder. So I decided to start with Bumble. Now I can make another video going into differences between these apps. But the reason I like Bumble of all the dating apps that I've tried is because Bumble has a specific field where you can identify what you're looking for. So if you're looking for something as serious as marriage, you can actually identify marriage as your intent, or you can just put don't know. Don't know usually is the other end of the spectrum for my casual folks out there. There also is another tab that says relationship that lets the user know that you're looking for a relationship, and obviously you'd only want to match with those that are also looking for a relationship or perhaps something more serious if that's okay with you. So I have made a cardinal rule that I would not match with anyone that said don't know, because if they are not clear on their intentions, then they're not going to be clear with which direction to take our friendship either. Honestly, my girl at the Cash Compass has warned me. Only type of people you find on Bumble are the first 3 letters of the app's name. She has never let me down. So I'm swiping and I come across this guy, and for his privacy, although I did block him on both of his pages on Instagram, so he won't be able to see that I posted this because I hate him. I do want to protect his identity, so for this video, we will call him DJ. Yeah, let's call him DJ. DJ. Cool. So I run across DJ's profile, and lo and behold, it says, looking for a relationship. I have my Bumble filtered, so I only get guys that are looking for a relationship. That's how serious I got about looking for someone that had the same intent as me. Make sure that you're following here, because DJ definitely identifies that he is looking for a relationship. Cool. So I match with DJ. DJ says he's looking for a relationship. DJ's attractive. DJ's at least 6 feet, employed, with a graduate degree. I thought I was winning. The first message honestly should have been a warning. I do feel bamboozled after the fact. But anywho, DJ and I had good chemistry. I mean, I was laughing almost every other message. We talked in GIFs. We sent pictures of food that we cooked to say who was the better cook or not. It felt so nice because we honestly were just being ourselves and having a good time. And I think that's such a good sign of chemistry to come. So I liked DJ a lot. I was actually curious as to how long it was going to take DJ to ask for my number because we had been talking for a few days. It actually took 7 days for DJ to ask for my number, but when he did, I was so happy to find out he was an iPhone user. In no time, we ended up FaceTiming, and I was just so smitten. I thought he was so attractive, and I just loved his eyes, and I'm such a poetic person. I started to just see poetry in his eyes. Or maybe it was the lies to come. So that's a good sign. We FaceTime, he's attractive, he finds me attractive. This is going great. What can go wrong, right? DJ works in a very demanding industry. So one thing that I did put off, although it was a red flag, was DJ's inability to come up with concrete plans for our first date. Being this understanding person, I totally said it was okay and I brushed it off. I remember when I brought up the situation, he was like, what if I set up plans with you? Next thing you know, I get called and I look like a jackass because something came up. And I was like, oh my God, you're so right. And now that I think about it, I'm like, come on, dude. Like, we're grown. Just communicate. I think what really got me is when we would be on FaceTime, I just loved the way he looked at me. Like, he looked at me with such intensity. I think, honestly, I was really smitten with him because he wasn't moved by the fact that I was a virgin. He was like, no, I totally respect you. He seemed like he really wanted to work towards a relationship. So I felt like I finally found someone that was mature enough to actually pursue a relationship with. But during those FaceTime calls, he would just look me in my eyes. I mean, I remember one time we were on FaceTime for damn near 2 hours. And he was playing all types of R&B songs. And then, I would throw my recommendations in. But after a while, we wouldn't even be talking. He would just stare into my eyes. And I was just like, yo, this is getting intense. Am I in love? Am I in love? So I really like this guy. I mean, I'm so excited to meet him in person to just see if the in-person chemistry is as good as the textual to conversational chemistry that we've been having. So I just can't wait to see him. At one point, DJ said that we would meet up the next day, and I was like, cool, but he never followed through, and then he kind of really didn't text much the next day. So I kind of felt like, okay, this is someone that with no follow through. I don't really like to make a big deal out of things like that. So honestly, once he came up with his excuse, I brushed it off and I was ready to move on. However, looking back, I'm realizing there's so many little red flags that go off that we just ignore because that desire for who we want this person to be is so much greater than what we're actually seeing. And we don't like that. And sometimes we're too impatient to wait for something better that we just keep brushing off these red flags, right? With DJ, there are 3 red flags that I should have paid a little bit more attention to. 1, he got easily jealous or annoyed whenever I brought up another guy. Now, keep in mind, I'm a very open book. As you guys can see, I can put my entire diary on YouTube and not flinch. However, anything that I mentioned about a guy just always seemed to get really sour remarks from him, and he mentioned that he didn't like hearing about other guys. I kind of brushed off because I was like, dude, like, I don't have any relationships under my belt. I'm literally just telling you about things I've learned with other guys, but neither here nor there. Second red flag, like I said, There was no urgency to set up a date, and the excuses that he made, again, demanding field or not, if a guy really wants to spend time with you, he will find a way to carve some time and see you and make time to prioritize some kind of date. Whether it's a walk in the park, an ice cream date, or the movies, he'll find a way to work you into his schedule. So I really should have paid attention to that. And the third thing, there was no follow through when he did set certain things up. I think if I would have paid attention to that, I would have noticed from earlier that he wasn't as serious as he led on to be. I liked him a lot, so I overlooked all of that. So I decided on March 10th that I was going to see him. And I said that I would create this rule where I did not go to a guy's house, especially if I, didn't know them or met them on a dating app. But my connection with him was so strong that I didn't care. Here's this guy that I really like a lot. He looks like the pictures when I look on FaceTime, if not better. I'm eager to meet him. So he stays about 30 minutes away from me, but I did not care how far the drive would have been. I just was so excited to meet him, and he seemed like he was happy to have me as company, so I was really excited, right? So boom, I'm in his apartment, and it's a nice apartment. It's a 1-1, so I'm like, ooh, no roommate. Actually, when I met him, right before he got off the elevator, I hid and I scared him. And that first embrace was so freaking cute. Like, it was like he was scared, but he was happy. And I was just giddy laughing. And then we hugged and we got on the elevator. And I just knew the rest of my night was going to be perfect, right? So I get upstairs, and his house is nice. It has a nice little island and, everything. I mean, it wasn't the most organized, but in his industry as a creative, I understood why it was kind of disorganized, but it was very neat for a guy. We make our way to the couch, and he has food, and I'm vegan, and he knows that. So he shared his chips and guacamole with me, which was my first love language. Just checked off, okay? So we're on the couch watching Love is Blind. I'm eating chips and guacamole. All is well in the world, okay? I mean, we watched episode after episode, and I think it was when I adjusted my seating, I realized that I had been sitting on this little Welch's grape bottle. And there was something in it, and I thought it was coconut oil because he has these little starter locks. So I was like, oh, he must have been greasing his hair, right? And then as I look at it, I'm like, this ain't coconut oil, Marsha. And I was like, what is this? You gonna take this to the sperm bank? And he was like, yeah. And I was just like, here. And he took it, right? But I was just like, do, sits back on couch. He didn't really quite give an immediate answer when I asked him what it was. And I was just like, do you just jack off in bottles? Like, is that what you do? He was like, yeah, you can't have that going everywhere. So here I am, super inexperienced. It's not like I've dated a bunch of guys in my lifetime. So when a guy tells me that, I'm like, is this sanitary or is this strange? I really couldn't even put my finger on it. But honestly, I didn't care. And I just was just like, yeah, anyways. So I just kind of brushed it off. And he was like, that's not what that's for. Don't go asking guys if that's what they do. I was like, not gonna ask guys that. Totally was gonna ask my homeboys. If you haven't seen Love is Blind, definitely check it out. What I love about the show is that these people are in these isolated rooms called pods, and they have to date pretty much via voice and see if they would actually be a match. So they're, pretty much asking questions that would help them see whether or not this person on the other end would be someone that they actually want to marry at the end of the experiment. Crazy. But what I loved about it is that it opened up so much dialogue between him and I, where we would talk about what we do like or how we like to communicate. And I mean, at one point, I think in between episodes, I think he was showing me pictures of his family. So I'm just over here head over heels. Like, this guy's showing me pictures of his grandma, and we're talking about our families, and we're watching this show, and we're talking about how we would want to be communicated with. I mean, we're watching our favorite couple make it to the altar, but then not make it to the altar. So we're like, damn. Like, I mean, we are just getting along so well. At this point, I'm putting his last name with my name, and I'm going Hugapataki on that joint. And I'm just happy. So finally we kissed, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was such a nice kiss. And of course, the caressing or whatnot, but it did not go any further than that. I was very adamant on not giving or receiving oral sex. I did not want to take it there that early, or, create a situation for him where, he would be tempted beyond what I was willing to do. So he was definitely, he was going to go to town. But at any rate, my alarm for work goes off, and I'm just like, what the hell? But I didn't want the night to end. So I decided I was going to take a half day and spend the rest of the morning with him. because it just felt too perfect, right? Now we're like, okay, no more of this show. You know how these Netflix shows be. If you do not cut it off, you will get sucked into another episode. So we cut it off. Like, okay, cool. I'll set my alarm and I'll wake up in order to make it for the last half of work. And I was just so excited to be in bed with him, be in his arms. Just the night was just so perfect. There was nothing else I wanted but to go to sleep, and particularly next to him, because I thought I had really connected with someone special, right? So I go into the room and he goes into the bathroom, and I realize there are a couple more of these bottles on the floor on his side, and I think one more was on the bed. So I was like, just a wee bit concerned. Honestly, the multiple bottles should have been an extra warning that something's not quite right. However, I didn't know what to make of it, and I didn't want to assume what he was doing with these bottles. He didn't seem that comfortable telling me, so I just didn't really want to make a big deal out of them. So I didn't say anything about the bottles, and I just went to sleep. He ended up joining me, and, again, same thing, cuddles, but then we eventually just went to sleep. When I woke up, he wasn't next to me in the bed, but I noticed that there was a bug on the bed.
That's nasty.
So I'm mildly freaked out, but I'm just like, because I have to pee. I mean, when I tell you I have to pee so bad, I killed the bug and I completely forgot that the bug was there because I had to pee so bad. And I was like, if I pee on myself in this man's house, I'll never forgive myself.
Which is effed up because he's the one with the bugs.
So I was freaked out by the bug, but I completely forgot to tell him about it. Basically, I'm leaving at this point. He walks me to my car, gives me a big hug. Everything is all good. And I leave, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, that was so, like, nice. Like, I really like him. I love the chemistry that we had in person. Yeah, the sperm bottles were kind of, strange. I don't know what to make of it yet, but, who cares? Okay, he might have had a bug on his bed. It alarms me that didn't concern me even more. But guys, I really like this guy. I mean, imagine, I woke up and there was a bug next to my freaking face. And I completely just decided to overlook it and the sperm bottles. I am starting to realize that I have a problem. I was willing to overlook some things that are not overlookable. And this is what I get. So honestly, I think I got everything coming to me. So later that day, I sent him a gif that said, I'm motherfucking tired. And he was like, yeah, I bet you are. So we made small talk later that night about being tired. But I knew that he had a pretty hard day at work earlier in the week, so I knew he was going to be busy when he got back to work the next day. So I didn't really, check on him for not really texting me the next day. I didn't think anything of it because, again, we had such a great night. There was nothing for me to doubt, overthink, underthink, any of that. However, it was the next day, so this is the 12th, because I went over there on the 10th. The 10th turned into the 11th, and it was the next day on the 12th where I started to notice that I had these bites all over my arms, and there was even some on my stomach and on my leg.
What?
I know. I'm having PTSD looking at this again.
So I was like, oh, I gotta tell him, because I was like, yo, he's gonna get bit next too. He needs to know. He needs to like throw the whole bed away. So I texted him and I told him, and he was so mortified. He was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That's so nasty. I'm not even like that. This is that and the third. And so I believe him. So I'm like, oh my gosh, it's okay. Like, they're common. I mean, it could have been from, work, and, you might have put your work bag on your bed. It's a transfer. It's happened to me at a hotel before. You're good. Like, I'm trying to make him feel better. I feel so bad that I had to tell him that, but I wanted to be honest and truthful. And I told him it's no big deal. They sell bed bug sprays. So you can just spray your things and spray your bed, and I'm sure you'll be fine. So he was like, okay, cool, thanks. And so I was like, okay. So I go to sleep, like, it's nobody's business, but I don't hear from him at all on the 13th, which is, I think, a Friday. So I was like, okay. And I try not to trip about it at all. Then I sent a text message, and I never got a response back. I was like, kind of strange. But then I'm working a wedding on that Saturday, and I realized I had not heard from him at all. So I sent another message. But that's when I realized he was ghosting me, and I was pissed. I mean, I'm working this wedding, and I'm getting super emotional because here I am thinking I met this great guy. We have great conversation. We've had meaningful and purposeful conversation. He's called me out on things, so I'm seeing that we can grow together. Like, I'm getting so excited about this guy, and here he is ghosting me. Needless to say, I was very shocked that he would just kind of up and disappear like that. I didn't know what to think of it, and I didn't want to read too much into it. But one day became a few days, and I started to realize he really wasn't answering my text messages. So when I brought it up to my coworker, he was like, honestly, I think his ego is crushed because, you know, you kind of exposed him to be this dirty nigga, and now he doesn't know how to kind of rebound from that. I'm like, that's BS. Like, if I told him it's okay and I'm over here coming off as this supportive person, why would you shut me out because of that? Honestly, I have been ghosted before, and it is the most frustrating thing ever because it is a pet peeve of mine to have poor communication. For a person to not be honest with you about how they feel about you or where they see the relationship heading, and to just up and disappear, leaves that person with so many questions. I have a very busy mind, and I will complete an entire narrative without your help about what's going on between us if you just up and disappear. I'm gonna think I did so many things wrong. So honestly, I was so upset that I was not just letting him ghost me. I was chasing a ghost. I was a ghost buster. I hit him up on Instagram, and I hit him up in a text message, and I came at him, as you can see here. I was like, you're not going to just do this, like, and not make this at least a decent exit, and at least tell me what the hell is going on. You can see that was his bullshit excuse, basically saying that he has a lot going on right now and doesn't want to get bogged down. And I'm like, bogged down by what? Bed bugs, nigga? Like, but I'm pissed. And at this point, honestly, I just wanted to at least get a half-ass excuse because to me that was better than no response at all. To this day, he's still active on the Bumble app because I definitely checked as I was getting the screenshots for this video. And his status still says that he's looking for a relationship. It's super misleading because here you are saying that you're not ready for a relationship after we had nothing but great conversations, a great first time meeting, and yeah, maybe a bed bug or two in between. But come on, in a marriage, you're gonna have to get through way worse than bed bugs. So I was really hopeful that, you know, we could continue what we started. I really thought Bedbug Bae was going to be it, but turns out he was just a sperm bottle collector with bed bugs. And he's no bae. So it turns out that DJ, the Bedbug Bae, did not end up being the one, but I have not given up on online dating. I still largely encourage people to at least try dating apps at least once because it could be a very cool experience. You could get lucky and join that 12% and end up in a committed relationship like my friend, or you can end up like me and get bitten by bed bugs. That is all for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like this video if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button and join the Ratch Batch family. Until next time, be refined, be ratchet, be you, and be bed bug free.